welcome into the form where Trentham takes centre stage this weekend with 5 stakes races, including the big one, the Group 1 Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes. So to talk through all of the action, in studio is Bevan Sweeney, and beaming in from Sydney is Aidan Rodley and Leith Innes. Good morning, team. Let's have a look what's coming up on the agenda. We'll be starting with our Group 1 feature preview, the Manawatu Sires preview, our race trackers, the Manawatu Classic and Breeders, the 2 Group 3s on the card, the Awapuni Gold Cup and the Flying Handicap preview also out of Trentham. Then we head across to Sydney for day 1 of the championships, looking at the TJ Smith and our best bets as usual to round out the show. Feature racing is out of Trentham. That's your hood. Bevan Sweeney, as I say, good morning to you. What's the weather and track conditions looking like on Saturday?
Pup, I don't think there's any cause for concern really. They've had 5.5 mils of rain across the last 7 days. The track is a soft 5 at the present moment. Looking at the forecast, they might get 2, 3, 4 mils over the next 24, 36 hours leading into the race day. I think the factor around the Trentham track at the present moment is that it is getting a little bit tired after a lot of racing on it due to the closure of Manawatu. So they do tend to try and find a racing lane there at Trentham no matter what the track condition is, just through wear and tear. So the track will be in good nick, but we'll keep an eye on it throughout the day.
Well, let's take a look at the market. It is race number 7 on the program, the Courtesy Ford Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes at Group 1 level for the 2-year-olds over the 1400. Velocious 270. She's looking for another Group 1, and Stephen Marsh's first in the Produce Stakes, captured by Love at $4, your second favourite. Over the 14, Leith, so where's the speed injecting?
Yeah, Pip, obviously the races at Trentham on Saturday and the 1400 metres, it's going to be a tough slog for the 2-year-olds. Full Force from Gate 4 would probably be the leader, or Red Sea from Barrier 9. And then we've got horses like Unbridled Joy will get back from his gate. Velocious got the perfect gate in Gate 1 where she'll just map just to sit probably just in behind the speed.
That's a look at the speed. Thanks, Leith, as we head back now to some key lead-in races. Let's start with the Sistema up at Ellerslie. Bevan, what a win it was by your favourite here, Velocious, holding off 2 very nice horses.
Yeah, it was a great win. She's a great filly. I found it interesting when I was looking at the speed map, thinking at least they don't really put some pressure into it. There's a chance that she could be 3-back fence maybe with those horses coming across, and that might make it a little bit interesting, especially when you see what Captured by Love has done in the last 50 or so metres, and was awkwardly away, boys, at this particular race. And that's not really a pattern this horse has shown. It was just circumstances on the day. But there's the quality act going to the post, and there's a couple of really nice horses behind her coming into Saturday.
Yeah, her whole body of work, Bevan, has been fantastic, hasn't it? Velocious, just winning the whole way through, Leith. Like they say, like Archaic Smile, very good and into second, but yeah, Captured by Love.
Captured by Love, yeah, it was really good. Didn't have much luck from the gate. Craig Grills gets on this week, and look, in that race, Warren Kennedy lost his iron at the 400 metre mark as well. So for her to fight back like she did, she's going to be awfully hard to beat on Saturday.
Is a winner coming out of the?
I think so. Probably apart from those 3 top ones, Sergeant Major maybe. His racing manners were a little bit green last start, so he does have to improve a little bit.
Full Force is a really interesting runner in this race as well. It performed at Otaki. It was a soft kill to get a bit of confidence to go towards the Group 1. Sergeant Major was backed on this race, and we are going to have a look at Sergeant Major later on in this preview. But look, he's got the quality here, boys. It just feels as though he might be a length off, maybe a length off those real top liners. But, you know, he could find that and put himself right in the mix, especially this way of going.
A really good win this day, and obviously the form's been franked by Sergeant Major's win at Trentham since. But then you look at maybe Archaic Smile, who's beaten home Full Force. There's form lines running through them. This horse looked pretty good in the exhibition gallop at Ellerslie.
He certainly did. I think the best thing about Full Force, the 1400 metres is really going to suit him. He's a big, strong sort of horse. Gate 4 gives him a lot of options where they can ride him forward and be positive.
Yeah, so if he does get away with the soft lead, is that to his advantage?
100%, and you think the big roomy track at Trentham is really going to suit him.
Red Sea's a really interesting runner as well, coming in the 2-year-old by Parata. Just had the 4 starts. The last start win was at Matter and ran 1:10.45 here off a forward position. Look, experience is key, lads, when you come into a race like this. Yes, it did a good job on this occasion, probably running a little bit on nerves, but it's drawn out. If it has to work against this quality of animal, look, I don't see it as a winning chance. How about you?
Oh, I thought it was really good the other day. I tell you what, Leith, you know who it really made me think of was Marky Mark.
Yeah, he's got that same sort of billing, hasn't he? And look, I think the big roomy track at Trentham will suit him. I have him mapped to either lead or sit outside the leader. So look, he's going to be he's going to be there a long way down that straight. Look, he's in good form. He looks fit and healthy as well.
Can he win?
I'm not sure if I can have him on top, but I think he's definitely a top 3 chance. Maybe, I just can't go past those 3 favourites for me.
Yeah, I agree. That performance reminds me a little bit of the Kelso Alabama Express horse, who was very, very good on its debut and ran him into the deck, and then maybe that pressure just told Sergeant Major, well, if you want to talk about experience and doing the right things, this is not what you want to see. But he won. He still won. And look, he's been sold offshore and he's been left with Gavin to be prepared for this particular race. I think Aussie Cure has bought Sergeant Major, and look, it was some eye-catching sort of win, boys, but Manners will be a massive key on Saturday.
I wonder, Leith, whether they're really mindful about having a horse on the inside of them as they come round that bend, and just to help them get around the turn. But there's green, but there's ability there, isn't there?
There's definitely ability. Look, he was down the dog leg straight and he was hanging out. If he does that over 1,400 metres at Trentham, his manners are going to have to really improve. But hey, he's drawn 5. Sam does know him, so I think he'll just try and lock him and squeeze him straight to the rail. And yeah, he's got to have horses around him. But then what do? Are you worried that you're going to get run off the track? Or hey, he is a very nice horse in the Birdcage. He was a standout last start, but he doesn't have to improve much to be in this race.
Okay, why don't we stay with us for selections, guys? Who's on top for you, Lee?
Look, I got Velocious. I just think the one gate, I know she's been up a little while, but I think she's a class horse of the race, and I have her on top clearly.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'm with Velocious as well. I just really liked what she's done. She just keeps on getting better and better. I think there's improvement out of the LSE run. She hadn't raced since the Karaka Million leading into this. So 1,400 metres, and obviously with that big carrot, the winner of this race, Bevan, getting that $1 million bonus if they can win the NZP Kiwi as well. Who do you have on top?
I'm going to hold that for a second because we've got a couple of trainers' thoughts here. We need to hear about Velocious, and the Kayak Smile also is a horse with a lot of ability.
She's really good. She hasn't done a thing wrong. She went to Ellerslie on Saturday. Exhibition galloped up beautiful. I'm keeping a watchful eye on the weather forecast. It's very windy at Wellington at the moment. It's meant to, possibly a little bit around. Hope none comes. Drawn barrier 1, she's spot on. She had a week at the farm, brought her back in. She's had the one exhibition gallop and pulled up as clean as anything. She had her final gallop this morning in New Zealand and right on top of her game. Well, look, we sat outside the leader last time, and our worry was that the horse on the inside of us, Poetic Champion, probably running off and taking us out into the middle of the track, and it just started to run off, so that's why Sam had to go a bit early. I think we'll just be a lot more patient this time, whether she trails up or... Look, we're not going to go in with too much of a plan, but as long as she's relaxed and happy in the right spot, we're obviously going to use our draw. I mean, look, if she jumped and they wanted to walk, if she just bowled along in front, doesn't matter. As long as she's relaxed, happy, hold her together a bit, she'll be fine.
Yeah, she bounced through it really well, Aidan. We gave her a few days in the paddock after the Ellerslie run, and her in full force had a exhibition gallop at Ellerslie last Saturday. Both worked strongly, and she's come through that well. So more than happy heading to Trentham. She's obviously been very consistent in all the good 2-year-old races this season, and I'm sure she'll be thereabouts again on Saturday. She's won around Trentham, but I think the 1,400 will suit her. She's very relaxed fully in the run, hardly touches the bridle, so a little bit of an awkward gate 7, but if he can just get some cover just from behind the speed somewhere, I'm sure she'll run it out strongly. She's a winning chance if things go wrong for the favourite. Obviously, she's been the benchmark 2-year-old all season, and just probably looking at the form, those 3 fillies have been sort of dominating most of the better 2-year-olds races all season. I'd sort of expect much of the same on Saturday.
I just don't see a change-up, to be honest with you, in the 2-year-old ranks. I think Velocious, just a tricky draw for mine, and I was really impressed by Capture by Love. I felt a little bit of a traitor going with Capture by Love, but I just love the sectionals late by this particular horse. If it jumps away with them from that particular gate, I think it finds a very, very nice slot in the run, and it'll be attacking Velocious late, who should get a decent sort of run just behind them. She'll possibly keep on winning, but just happy with Capture by Love. It's just that little bit more of a quote pip.
And Tiako have a great record in the race as well. So that's a look at the Group 1 feature. Don't forget too, on the day, races 6 to 9. We have a guaranteed quaddy of $50,000. Obviously the Group 1 race number 7 running through that if you're wanting to take a quaddy. So much to look forward to. Make sure you tune in to Trackside 1 and Trackside Premier. The race gets underway 3:56 on Saturday. Racetracker time on the form. Bevan Sweeney, who have you got your eye on for us this week?
I've had an eye on this horse for a long period of time. It's had an injury post what was a dominant win at Waverley. Now, this is its trial. It's called I'm a Brazen One for Mike Breslin. Gee, it was good at Waverley at its one and only run. It had a really unique injury, which has taken a lot of time to heal. I don't think it was structural. It was just an infection that just got a little bit blown out. But that is the horse beating, I think that's Perfect Sister beating it, who wins at the trials, and it is a nice horse, but this horse is going really nicely. Race number 1, Saturday at Trentham, it does get underway, and I'm happy to go a little bit each way at around about $9 for it to take out the first at Trentham.
Okay, look forward to that. I'm going to take you to Riccarton and have a look at a horse who's getting ready for the $350,000 Southern Alps Challenge. This is a very good performance by an informed horse, Mystic Park. Just doing everything right so far. Just keeps on taking the next step up. Didn't really put them away until late in this race. You see there, it's sort of just in the grinding mode, but then it decides, hang on, I'm in a race, I've got to put these horses to bed, and does that very, very nicely in the closing stages. We'll start favourite in the Southern Alps next weekend. Really looking forward to that race, and I'm interested to see which horse you've picked out, Leith.
I've gone away from the horses this week, Rod. I'm going to take a greyhound called He's All Go. Look, last start, apparently when the lid's open, he got his muzzle caught in the gate. What? He got his muzzle caught in the gate, and then he speared up in between them, and he got checked. And it's just one of those runs you want to forget about.
Wow.
He's racing on Friday night at Wanganui at 8 minutes to 8. Race 1, number 8. He's All Go. He'll be winning this week.
Did you ever have a bridle caught in the barriers?
I've had my feet hit the gates a few times, a few broken bones. But yeah, the muzzle was a new sort of. Could be one of those excuses those trainers tell. I don't know.
Jeez, this is all new territory for us. Have you told a few people around the sales grounds that you're in a greyhound?
Yeah, a few people have heard about this dog, and they sort of wanted to know when he's coming to Melbourne. So look, they'll be tuning in on Friday night for sure.
Few people. I want to think nearly everybody's heard about this dog. He goes around in the Group 1 Hat-Trick Classic heats on Friday, as I take you to actually Rosehill, take you back to Macarena here for the Hawks stable. She was just buried in a pocket on the rail the whole way up the straight here. Didn't get out until the 100 metres in the Emancipation Stakes. She's nominated for the Queen of the Turf on the second day of the championship. She's currently $15 in the futures market. Really liked her 2 runs leading into this as well, including that second behind Zardozi in the Far Lap Stakes. So like her at a price in the futures odds for the second day of the championship. So here's a summary. I'm a Brazen One for Bevan, Mystic Park for Aidan. Let's sticking with his greyhound, He's All Go, and I'll go for Macarena for the Hawks team. Time to preview the 2 Group 3s out of Trentham. We'll be starting on race number 4. Looking forward to this affair. It is the Manawatu Classic at Group 3 level, sponsored by Higgins Concrete. Over the 2100 metres, just as sharp, clear-cut favourite for Team Rogerson at 2.30, Moonlight Magic at 6.5, and Monday Melody at single-figure odds at $9. So that's a look at the market. Let's have a look at some form leading in. And Bevan, doesn't this stack up just as sharp, running 4th in the Derby here, and now 2 group winners in Australia running 1-2?
Said it all there, Pip, really. This form was really stacking up so strongly. I don't think we saw the best of Orchestral last Saturday, possibly. Might just see better as she steps up back to the 2400 metres, but Antrim coast down towards the inside, and then just as sharp hitting the line out wide. It is the 3-year-old staying form race, possibly in Australasia at the present moment. Yes, the horse is coming back to the 2100 metres on Saturday, but good gate, Ryan Elliott meets these horses at level weights. For me, I'd have to say it looks the absolute obvious in this race, but of course the Oaks has an influence, Pip.
Certainly does. Let's take you back to that, where the second favourite, Moonlight Magic, does run 6th in it for Andrew Forsman and Craig Grills. Obviously a couple of others in behind, Shanti Lace, Sheaf running 8th and Wren. Who took your eye out of this, Bevan?
Look, I've been a fan of Sheaf, but if you were going to pick the one coming into this race, it's definitely Moonlight Magic, with the right sort of profile to keep on improving out of the right stable with Andrew Forsman and Craig Grills picks up the ride. Look, it had been close up behind Positivity. It had been in behind Ken Shee at New Plymouth in the Oaks Prelude, and then it went to the Oaks and ran a nice race. Now, the form's just not exposed out of the Oaks like it is out of the Derby. Of course, the winner has been sold offshore, so we're going to see exactly how that does stand up in the not too distant future. But the Derby is the way it is at the present moment. So I think Just As Sharp is the obvious. It's a big, long straight at Trentham. I think that will suit this horse absolutely down to the mark. Decent sort of draw. Ryan Elliott to do the riding, who's been with the horse the last couple of starts and knows the horse well through the Rogerson connection. $2.30 when I set my market pip. That was an over, and I marked Just As Sharp as probably the best bet on the program there at Trentham.
Yeah, like it, like the confidence, Bevan, as we move on to race number 5, the other Group 3 on the card, the Martin Collins New Zealand Manawatu Breeders Stakes apostrophe at the top of the book, $3.50. This is dramatic after the Group 2 Japan Trophy win at $3.60 and Val d'Isoldo at $5.50. Let's go back to apostrophe. Boy, she was very good here late sectionally when finishing second in this affair, Bevan.
Very, very good. Now, whether she needs just a little bit of cut out of the track, that is the real question mark that sits in my mind. But every way you sort of rate this race and go through the form lines, even with not having the cut out of the track required, she's probably still rates to win the race. Look, Calico's very, very disappointing. This is a good quality race. Of course, Hoyo Sasbon went up north and ran in the Group 1 on Saturday. So the form around it is great. The way the horse hit the line was fantastic. There is that niggle about track conditions. Maybe it just needs in the cut in the track. And of course, it steps up to that staying trip pip, which has never really been in its ballpark. But if you go through its breeding by Tavistock out of a Cape Crossmere, you'd say it'll get 2,100 metres all day running uphill. So I didn't have a lot between that and Just As Dramatic when I shaped my market, and the bookmakers are agreeing, Pip.
Oh, absolutely. It might be one of those ones where it comes down to track conditions, and track conditions certainly played a part here. Just As Dramatic in taking out the Group 2 Japan Trophy for Lisa Latta. But I will say one thing about the mare, she tends to be able to handle all types of ground as well.
She has developed into that sort of mare. I really had her pegged as a horse that needed better ground, and then we saw a win at Hawke's Bay through the Spring Carnival in an off-track condition, and then this day she just ploughed through it. It was a super performance, and of course it's a decent sort of form race. Now, they won't be getting these track conditions on Saturday, but it doesn't really matter. She's a black type mare this. She's going to get the draw to jump and sit just in behind them. Look, if she'll run out the trip, I think, as strongly as any horse in the race. Doesn't hold the record that Apostrophe holds at the track particularly. Apostrophe's won 1 and placed 2 from 3, whereas Just As Dramatic has missed on a couple of occasions, but has been in very good grades. So they're very close to me. The one I'm surprised around, Pip, is Ruby Rocks being led out quite that long. There's not a tougher horse in the Central Districts at the present moment, and there's only real 2 pace influences in this race with Calico and Ruby Rocks. Look, she was there to be shot down last start. She just kept on rolling. So she's out a really nice quote if you want to have a crack at that. But look, everywhere I shook it, it ended up coming back to Apostrophe by a very, very small margin to take out the Manawatu Breeders. I might be having an investment on Just As Dramatic as well, and maybe Ruby Rocks at odds. But yeah, Apostrophe, 2 eye-catching last start, put to really dismiss.
Yeah, absolutely, Bevan. Well, let's hear about the third favourite, Val d'Isoldo, and see what Tony Pike thinks about her chances.
Yeah, just building to peak fitness now. All her runs have been solid this preparation. She obviously won at Group 2 level as a 3-year-old. Doesn't look the overly strong Manawatu Breeders. So even at weight for age, although badly off at the weights, she's drawn softly in Gate 1, and yeah, she's peaking at the right time to be competitive on Saturday.
Really does come in nicely as well. Sneezy Tevi from an inside gate with some good early speed, and Michael McNabb on board. Has to find a length, in my opinion, to get there. So on top with Apostrophe, as I said, not a lot between that and Just As Dramatic, and they match that in the market. If I was throwing one out at a bit of odds, Ruby Rocks I think is going well. It might be her last run of the season, so she'll be there and she'll get money on her as she always does from the local Wairarapa crew. Pip.
A couple of gold coins on Ruby Rocks if you want to stay away from the short prices around the favourites. And don't forget too, our Grand Tour bonus back as well on the first 6 races. So a horse like Ruby Rocks could be well worth playing with that bonus back and play on the first 6. We move now to the Awapuni Gold Cup and the Flying Handicap. Let's start with the Awapuni Cup, race number 6 on the card. He's a doozy, heading to the 2,000 metres. He's at 420 with Nereus as well at that quote. Arby sitting safe in the market at 480. It looks very competitive with Dark Destroyer at 550 and Skyman at $6.50. Favourite is He's a Doozy for Lisa Ladder. Absolutely loves Trentham. Bevan, what did you think of his last win here with Ace Lawson Carroll?
Well, I think it's a step up from what he met here. He had the weight off his back on this occasion, and they rolled off the rail and let him come through the inside. Look, he's a good horse. There's Duncan Creek out wide, are flying, and the Sherritt runner was a little bit unlucky. Soldier Boy back into 4th, and he's really only just got there. So he carries the 58. Jay Riddell knows him very, very well. I think, for me, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with him being favourite across a couple of these, but look, he has won 9 of 31. He's got a great record here locally at Trentham. He's won from 1 of the trips, so expecting him to run a race, but I didn't really mark him favourite in the race, Pip.
Well, let's have a look at second favourite, possibly one you would have, and that's Nereus. Here he's a horse for Sean Ritchie and Cole Murray. What did you make of this run from the gelding right off the pace?
Good horse, developing really nicely. Again, this horse was in a 75 last time, steps up to open on Saturday, but this horse is going to make it. This is a step into a race where they really find if he's going forward this preparation, and we tip him out and let him come back and be a Cup horse next season. Hard to do to come from Trentham last early on in the program on this occasion, and rounded them up nicely over the 1,600 metres. Gets a good gate to get cover on Saturday, so they won't need to go back. But I just found one better on this occasion. Probably the most talented horse in the race going forward, Pip Nereus. It'll run in the money, I've got no doubt about that. And it'd be no surprise if it was to win, but just found one better.
Maybe it's this. Let's have a look at the South Waikato Cup with the Arby hitting the line very, very strong for the Weatherlies. It looks like it'll really eat up the Awapuni Gold Cup.
This is the horse I really think is set up for today. If you go back to its run at Trentham in the best of company, it was enormous as a 3-year-old, this horse, when it was flashing home. I think it was a Live-In Classic from memory. And I just think this horse eats this up on Saturday at Trentham. Will love the big open spaces. I think it sits sort of back of midfield and not an overly big field. The one concern is there's not a massive amount of tempo in this race when I was speed mapping it earlier. So they'd want to be getting moving into the race early on to put some pressure into it. But Sam knows the horse well. Out of the family barn, 4-year-old by Presea. It's $4.80, I think the price was, and we saw that market earlier. Pip, I sort of had it shorter than that. I mapped it in the perfect spot. Loved its run when last time at Trentham. So I'm going with Arby just as my favourite runner over Nereus.
Yeah, I can see why. I love it when Sam combines with the family. Well, a runner we haven't touched on yet is Skyman. Let's see what Stephen Marsh thought about him and how he's come through his Japan run.
Brilliantly. I think the run just topped him off nicely. He's got the blinkers on now. He's drawn nicely, Spratt back in the saddle. He'll jump, put himself there. Gets in very well at set weight and penalties, and has to be a very good chance. Yeah, we've done a bit of work with him. He galloped. He raced over the mile, which topped him off nicely. He worked over basically over a mile on Tuesday, and he'll just have a little bit of maintenance work tomorrow, but he's fit and ready.
Wouldn't be surprised if they don't lead on Skyman. From the 2 gate, you've got Soldier Boy, who I think will push out, maybe trail, and then Lenkawi comes across and maybe adds that little bit of pressure into the race. So if you wanted a speed map special, and Skyman was only swamped late in his most recent performance, he's not going to have too much pressure applied to him, so he is a decent each-way chance. But my top selection in the race will be Arby for Team Weatherly, all-round riding and training. The 4-year-old by Presea, I think, really fits my eye for Saturday's race. 2,100 metres, he should eat up that. And I thought the last start performance really suggested he's coming back to his best, and he was great when we last saw him at Trentham, Pip.
Oh, he was, and it's going to be a great contest. The 3:21, the start time for the City of Palmerston North Awapuni Gold Cup as we move on to the Bramco Granite and Marble Flying Handicap Open over the 1,400 metres. Tavatak, $3.80 for Alan Sherrick, who has 3 chances. Petrucci at $5.50, Province at $6.50, and White Noise a joint with Our Echo in the market. Let's go back to Tavatak at Otaki back on February the 24th. I thought he wasn't going to win this race on this occasion. Bevan with Bradman coming at him late, but he picked up and lifted.
pressure race, and he found the line strong enough. Bredman, well, he needs these type of races to really fly. But it was a brave horse's effort, wasn't it? Because you think, no. And then all of a sudden he puts his head out and just gets the job done. He is that type of horse. He's got a great record locally. He's got a great record at the trip. He's got a great draw and he's got a top hoop. So when you put all those things into a schematic, he's got to be a major player in the race. He comes in with 55.5 with Just Ask Me being added to the race prep, so he gets in beautifully at the weights, really.
He certainly does. I don't know about that one. Let's have a look at the Lightning winner. He's trying to do the double here. Our Echo for Danny Fry. This was a super performance.
Wow. I mean, you'd never want to underrate the form coming north. And this horse had been unlucky, and it was a hard one to pick up, but hey, we got this race wrong when it sprinted to the front and put them away very, very quickly. And it was a dominant performance. Of course, that was at the 1,200 metres, steps up to the 1,400 metres, has won 2 of 12 at that sort of trip. The draw was probably good enough to say it'll run a race again this afternoon. Bredman, okay. Look, if in doubt, get out, Pip. We're not going to show it in the next video. However, this horse absolutely cleaned them up at New Plymouth over 1,400 metres, and it went from $15 to $4 on that occasion in the market. I think they'll lead on it on Saturday when I did my speed map. CL Butler gets aboard, and she's ridden the horse when it's performed at its absolute best. I think they were out to $14, $15 about it again. It's certainly an each-way play if you want to look outside the square in the one of the features.
Yeah, could have the bunny to chase in behind if it does do that. As we move back to Ellerslie now, we're going to take you back to the win of Province here for Stephen Marsh. Again, this was a super performance, and she didn't get much favours either early in the running. Yeah,
this mare by Savabeel might be heading to some pretty serious places. It's taken her a little bit of time to really realise her ability, but the way she gripped the ground there when asked, beating home Kendall, who we wait to see where that goes, was very, very impressive. Of course, 75, you're stepping up again. You get in there with the 53 kilos, it makes you pretty competitive. The gate is a little bit awkward at Trentham, especially with a couple in front that are very, very much proven. But interesting race. I ended up going with Terratak. I think he's a quality horse who's on the right track conditions, who gets the right gate, right rider. My each way play in the race, if in doubt, get out if you want to take something at blowout odds, and maybe Petrucci's just been forgotten a fraction in the market.
I like it. Thank you, Bevan. That's a look at the features on the undercard out of Trentham. All of the action starts 12:15. Trackside 1, and don't forget to tune into Trackside Premier as well from 2:30 in the afternoon. Time for our Kiwis in Oz preview. We highlight, of course, day 1 of the championships and the Group 1 TJ Smith Stakes, where we finally get to see the much anticipated matchup between Imperatriz and I Wish I Win. $3.20 for Imperatriz. I Wish I Win $4.20. And then you've got Sunshine in Paris at $8. Leith, it's over the 1,200. Who leads this race?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Pip. Apparently these 200 odd mils of rain come in the next 2 or 3 days. So look, the speed map could go out the window if the rain does turn up. But look, I just had Opie's got options of from his gate where he's probably going to get on the best part of the track. He'll probably just sit just behind the speed. James on I Wish I Win will definitely get back. It's his natural way of racing. So everyone's just got the eye on the weather at the moment, but anything could happen with the rain that they're predicting.
Really could. Well, let's have a look at the key leader, and let's take you back to the William Reid Stakes, where Imperatriz does hold out Johnny Rocker and kept to her unbeaten record at the Valley, Bevan. Yeah, I like her chasing. I think she's not a real true blue leader, and she's won her races when she's gone forward, but she's a better chaser. And when she cornered in here at the Valley, which is her home really, she put them away, boys, very, very quickly. I think Opie can choose his spot, he can get into the race, and just one more time this season she'll put her best foot forward.
Oh, she's been the yardstick all season here in Australian sprinting ranks, and I thought she was superb this day. Very good ride from Opie, but she still had to do work. She was out there wide, chasing, didn't get the drag up that she was really after, and had to be put into the race. And so really was a sitting duck for Johnny Rocker, although, at weight for age, he wasn't that well suited. I don't think he's much of a chance on a wet track on Saturday, but that's got to be the query, Leith, with Imperatriz. How does she handle a wet track?
Yeah, obviously she's got a little bit of heavy track form in New Zealand when she was a younger horse. Look, they're talking about if she wins on Saturday, she'll be Horse of the Year in Australia.
She might not need to be. She might already be.
That's correct. I think Opie was a little bit soft on her late at the Valley as well. Look, apparently she's travelled down well. Just that question mark on that heavy track though.
Yeah. You've got heavy track form here. You'd think it'd stack up compared to the heavy track form in Australia, because the tracks don't get anywhere near as deep as ours. Let's go back to the Everest, of course. This was a day that maybe I wish I win was just that little bit unlucky. You've got Private Eye here, Cylinder and Mazu also in the race. The winner's a smart horse, and look, it'll be a great training performance to get him to win fresh up in this race, boys, by Pete and Moody, especially if the 200 mils of rain does arrive.
Did bump into Peter here at the sales ground yesterday. He's really happy with the horse. Heads down here late in the week, of course. But that was a very good run in the Everest. And obviously you go back 12 months onto what was a wet track. Maybe not as wet as what we're going to get on Saturday. And he was obviously handling that okay. His wet track is good. He's obviously a horse of great ability. But he is fresh against Imperatrice, who's got the runs on the board.
Look, he's coming in with 2 really easy trials. He hasn't been tested in them. I think the heavy track's not a problem for him, and I wouldn't be doubting Peter Moody's training ability. Whoever this horse peaking for Saturday, J Mac on, a few pluses for me.
Yeah.
Had a fair bit of time to work him out, hasn't he, Pete Moody? And clearly that's a process physically, just to get him into the right spot at the right time. Here's the Galaxy. You'll see Buenos Noches, who's really disappointed me. A fracture and Sunshine in Paris, Up Kevin, Private Eye all go around here, and of course Sunshine in Paris, probably the leading hope here out of the Galaxy, running second here of the 1100 metres. Does this really hit the mark against I Wish I Win Imperatrice, boys?
For me, it does, and I think this is sort of, I know it's a Galaxy. It's some really good horses in good company, but I think the Imperatrice Wish I Win form is different. The only thing is, like, this wet track, and like you're talking about, lots and lots of rain. I think there's 30 or 40 mils even today, and then 100 plus tomorrow. Just how much that factors on the form in the race. There's a lot of wet trackers in this race as well. So
there is. You get a horse like Private Eye. He's a good horse. He hasn't had much luck lately. He's drawn 14, and those outside gates might be a big plus on Saturday.
Let's a look at some of the form leading in. It's a super field. Favourite is Imperatrice, though. Let's get the latest from Mark Walker.
No, we're really happy with her. So she galloped on Monday morning. There was a lot of rain forecast for Cranbourne on the Tuesday, so we worked on Monday, and just as well we did, because the grass was washed out on the Tuesday, so we're a bit lucky. She won a Foxford Plate at home on a heavy 10, I think it was, and even her run at Hawke's Bay, she didn't win that day, but that's the heaviest I've ever seen, and she's still in front at the 100 metres before they swamped her, and that was 1400, so I think she gets through it okay. Her peak sort of runs are probably the William Reid in this run. And she did nothing wrong the whole prep, really, did she? So, no, and the barrier draw gives Opie options too, barrier 6.
I'll have everything crossed Imperatrice wins, but I'll be okay. If J Mac and I Wish I Win can flash home and pick up the race as well. Look, it's just a question mark around these track conditions for me. So I think she's going to get away with it, so I think she's the best sprinter there in the fittest form. So I'm going with Imperatrice to keep her role going and become Australian Horse of the Year. What about you, boys?
Yeah, I'm going to be in the same camp, Bevan. I've got to be, of course. I've got Opie there, hoping that he can just extend his record. She has been superb over here. She's undoubtedly the benchmark, but like you, Bevan, I've just got that nagging doubt about it on a really wet track at the end of the preparation, but fingers crossed, Leith. I know you'd love to see Imperatrice win, but who'd you go on top?
Yeah, look, I'm tossing up. I don't care if J Mac wins or Opie, both good mates. And over here they'll be shouting me dinner on Saturday night, whoever loses. But hey, I've just got Wish I Win. I Wish I Win on top just because of his superior heavy track form. But I certainly won't be surprised if Imperatrice wins either.
He's not bad, is he? You can't even pull out the old wallet and shout the boys at dinner instead. So that's what the guys are liking in the Group 1 TJ Smith Stakes at Randwick. And don't forget too about our Super Saturday bonus back, not only at Randwick across the first 4 races, but also Caulfield. So make sure you're tuning in to catch all of the action across the Tasman on Trackside 1 and Trackside Premier on Saturday. Time for our best bets on the form this week. Bevan, we're going to start with you. Who's your best for the weekend?
Well, I'm going to go Friday. I think Saturday's a little bit of a tough meeting. So there's one here called Yellow Jersey, which goes around in the jumpers high weight against horses that are getting prepared for the jumping season. I really like this trial on Tuesday in preparation for its assignment on Friday. So I think Yellow Jersey is one to be sticking with Friday as we lead into Saturday. Aidan, what about you?
I'm going to go to Sunday to Invercargill and go for Sacred Dream, a horse who was desperately unlucky in running second last time out. I thought it was a super run at Riverton. This is a race that looks well within the capabilities of Sacred Dream. So Invercargill race 5 for me. Leith, how about you? Who's your best?
Yeah, look, I'm going to go to the TJ Smith on Saturday. I wish I win. I know he's on the drift a little bit. You're going to probably get $5 on the day, but I just think he's got that superior heavy track form. They've had this race earmarked for a long time. I think he'll be going very, very close on Saturday.
And I'm going to head to our Group 1 heats at night at Hattrick on Friday and go for a greyhound in the Bitches Series. Big Time Kenzie comes around in the extra meeting code race number 3, back to a track, back to winning form last week, and I think she'll continue on her winning way. Let's have a look at the best bet summary for you. Bevan with Yellow Jersey on Friday. I'm also heading to Whanganui on Friday on the other side of the Gallops track. I Wish I Win for Leith. The Party Central for Whale at Addington on Sunday, and Aidan rounding it out with Sacred Dream at Invercargill on Sunday. That concludes the show. Looking forward to your coverage on track, Bevan, on Saturday, and you, Aidan, across the Tasman. Enjoy your time, and for everyone at home, good luck on the punt.